The banks of the noble Androscoggin were once the home of a powerful tribe of Native Americans, known as the Abenakis, whose members near Lewiston Falls were named the Anasaganticooks. Over time, these hunting and fishing grounds were sold by the tribal Sagamores, and eventually, these lands on the Androscoggin came into the enterprising hands of the Pejepscot Company, who purchased the claim for 140 pounds in 1714. No effort was made to settle the land until 1767, when two prominent members of the Pejepscot Company, Jonathan Bagley and Moses Little, were granted the tract of land at the falls under the following condition: that the said Jonathan Bagley and Moses Little build 50 houses and settle 50 families in 6 years from this time hence. In 1770, Paul Hildred became the first settler to move into the plantation of Lewiston. He built his cabin on the banks of the river just below the Continental Mill and established the first river ferry in town. In 1794, the pioneers of Lewiston wanted a change in their municipal affairs and petitioned the General Court of Massachusetts to be incorporated into a town. The request was granted, and Governor Samuel Adams of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts approved the Act of Incorporation.
On February the 18th, in the year of our Lord 1795, the House of Representatives and Senate of the Commonwealth passed a bill approved by this governor, authorizing the plantation of Lewiston to be incorporated into a town, vested with all the powers, privileges, and immunities which other towns within this Commonwealth enjoy by law.
In the years following Lewiston's incorporation, Lewiston was becoming a manufacturing city. The old sawmill disappeared, but the falls would become a greater source of wealth for the people of the community. As early as 1819, Michael Little had established a small carding and fulling woolen mill. The manufacture of cotton in Lewiston had very humble origins on the 3rd floor, a wooden structure built close to the falls. Ephraim Wood began to manufacture cotton wops and batting in 1836. His successor, Joseph Harding, added 3 looms in 1844 and commenced the manufacture of cotton cloth in the same building which came to be known as the Old Cotton Mill. The success of these efforts induced Lewiston's leading entrepreneurs, Edward Little, John Fry, Alonzo Gosselin, and others to engage in similar activity. These were men who had long been ambitious to develop the power site at the falls. The Franklin Company had purchased strategic land sites at both sides of the river and invested in early manufacturing enterprises. The Great Androscoggin Falls Dam, Lock and Canal Company, had a grand design to harness the power, but the vision was beyond their means. So they organized themselves as the Lewiston Water Power Company and sold much of their stock to Boston investors. Built in 1847, the sleepy farming community had met its builder in a man named Benjamin Bates. The vision of the former school teacher, and now a prominent member in a Boston firm, lay beyond the natural beauty of the falls on the Androscoggin, but on cotton weaving. He saw that a canal would be needed to harness the power efficiently and visualized not one mill, but a line of mills placed along its banks. In the decade of his arrival, the town had expanded from 1,800 to 4,800 residents. Among were local entrepreneurs ahead of their time. They had already created a woolen and new cotton mill. Benjamin recognized that the railroad was rapidly ending Lewiston's geographic and economic isolation. The Lewiston Water Power Company, Mr. Bates, led Lewiston into its golden age. The years following 1850 were ones of momentous expansion. Lewiston would become a major textile center in the industrial heart of Maine. Among its industrial establishments were the Bates Manufacturing Company and Columbia Mills, the Continental Mill and the Hill Manufacturing Company, the Caron Rolling Company and the Cumberland Mill, the Lincoln Mill, Androscoggin Mill, and the Lewiston Bleachery. In 1861, Lewiston had become a city. Elect them, Jedka Ham as its first mayor.
As your first mayor, I am grateful to the people of this community for this office and my service to it. In 1861, your vote incorporated our town into a city opening its doors to a vast number of people, a city providing opportunity for work and a decent living. Base manufacturing, the bleachery, and the new Enderskoggins have hundreds of workers in their mills. And I'm happy to announce that the Hill will be constructing their second mill next year. As a representative of our new city, I'm confident of Lewiston's place and contribution to the state of Maine and welcome all its immigrants to their new home.
From 1860, Lewiston had grown in population faster than any other city in Maine. Lewiston had become a destination for thousands of immigrants who sought to establish a livelihood. And by 1895, Lewiston and its people prospered and remained confident in the city's future.
My daddy left Ireland at age 21 to seek out his fortune and fame. He crossed the Atlantic with his wife and 2 sons, and nothing to claim but his name. He came to this city to work in the mills, for wages twould barely my bread. He never complained of the life here, and still I remember the words that he said. I have found a new home where the future is bright for children and their children too. It's a world that is good, filled with hope and with light. This city is my gift to you. I have traveled as far to seek a new life, for the chance to be happy and free, to let go of the past with its heartaches and strife, in a city that welcomes me.
La via che venite tu, a beaucoup
Bones did as he promised Papa and Mama and found him a place to live down the Little Canada, close to the Continental Mill. At the same time, the Empire Theater opened its doors to the people of Lewiston. I was born in the middle of St. Mary's Parish on River Street. I have fond memories of the time I spent in that neighborhood so far from Canada, like playing simple games in the streets, or the wonderful aroma of meat pies from the oven, or running after my friends at a game of hide and seek through the alleys.
You mean kids were playing in the alleyways? You didn't play in the alleyways where I'm from. Junkies don't make very good marbles partners.
Nowadays, I don't know that I would venture to those alleys myself, but things were different then. Everyone knew everyone else. Grandma lived across the hall. Uncle Marcel 2 doors down. And if and when Mama wasn't around, we simply get to report to Grandma after school, which was often the case since so many people were working at the mills.
Double income families?
Of course, John. Every able-bodied worked in those days, even the children. Most of my family worked at the Continental Mill. Papa worked the loom, Gerard in the spinning room, and Estelle worked in the folding room. And Mama, oh Mama, how she worked. The workday never ended for Mama. After punching cards 12 hours in the mill, she'd come home, cook, clean, and scrub all during the night. She dressed 3-4 hours, and then start all over again. She was a hard worker, Mama.
And you?
Well, I went to school down the street at the church. The class were held in the basement while they were building over our heads. Being the youngest, I had more schooling than the others. We were better off then. I had a special treat of taking Papa his lunch at the mill since it was so close to home. This was one of the most important part of my day, even though I always seemed to be running late. You know, that's how I met Donovan. We were young then.
I took a train to Canada to see Papa then. He owns a little farmhouse in the south part of Quebec. He made me feel like Caron and man of all the rain. It made me very anxious to come back home to Maine. Oh, the summer vacation isn't all it's meant to be. You work around the house all day or in the factory, but there are so many good times we always hold on dear. It makes you wish vacation time would last the whole darn year.
Every Saturday this summer I would go to Lewiston Street to see if there was anything a blister cost to eat. For a penny I could buy some stuff that lasts me for a week, and all I had to do was let the ladies pinch my cheek. Oh, the summer vacation was always meant to be. I want to wish most anything, but boy my face was sore. But there are so many good times we'll always hold on dear. It makes you wish vacation time would last the whole of year.
After slavers at the holiday, something really grand. Watching Sunday easy join the saints and sing
came from a locust street who tried to steal my bike. He hit me in the stomach, punched him in the eye. Now me and him are buddies until the day we die. Oh, the summer vacation isn't always fun and games. You babysit the neighbors, teach the Irish call your names. But there are so many good times, you'll always overhear. It makes you wish that makes you time and lost the whole of me. Oh, the summer vacation will be everyone. Living here in Lewiston, everyone's a fun. And there are so many good times, you'll always overhear. It makes you wish that makes you time to run.
In the story of Lewiston, a new home, Madeline Morin lived on River Street in a section of a city called Little Canada, adjacent to some of the mill sites in Lewiston. Few would claim that the individual buildings are beautiful, but collectively they create an old-world atmosphere that is markedly different from the rest of Lewiston. In Little Canada, narrow streets and alleys twist between the blocks that seem all the higher since they are so close to one another and to the street itself. And it's here where Donovan Macaulay, an Irishman, met Madeline, a young Franco-American girl. After a thorough inquisition by Madeline's father, Louis Morin, Donovan was given permission to escort Madeline for a stroll in the park, which was not to last more than 30 minutes, as ordained by Mr. Morin.
For a minute, I thought we'd never be anything more than strangers passing at lunchtime.
Why did you wait so long, Donovan Macaulay?
Well, I meant to come earlier, but I had to stack the wood.
That's not what I meant. For 2 years, I've passed you every day on my way to school, and you haven't said a word. Maybe I should have dropped my father's dinner pail again.
I wish you would.